record it for those who can't make it live tonight. Um, one more person joining. We'll do a slide overview of the trip and then leave lots of time at the end for any Q&A that you might have. So, diving right in. Awesome. Okay. So the Turkey trip is taking place from September 5th through 12th, 2026. And then there is a Aegean extension from the 12th to the 15th, which we'll talk about. This is a picture of Istanbul, one of the main places you'll be visiting. So, just the itinerary at a glance. We have arrivals to Istanbul. You will have then a historical walking tour of Istanbul on September 6th. We're going to focus on the Hagia Sophia and the Topkapi Palace and a lot of the older parts of the city. And then in the afternoon, we're going to do a really special mosaic lamp workshop where you'll have the chance to learn about all of the really beautiful stained glass lamps that you see all over Turkey. You'll learn how to make your own mosaic stained glass lamp. And then the 7th, we'll continue the guided tour with the Spice Bazaar, the Grand Bazaar, and the Blue Mosque. In the morning, have a little bit of rest after our lunch, and then a little bit before sunset, we will take a private yacht onto the Bosphorus and we will, excuse me, we'll cruise along at sunset. You'll be able to see the Asia side, the Europe side as the sun sets. It's really beautiful. And we'll have some snacks and drinks and then have a little bit later dinner once we get off the cruise. The 8th is our Turkish Hammam experience day. So we will go to a hammam that's going to be privatized just for our group, and you'll have the full Turkish bath experience, including the sort of soaking in the pool, the steam room, a massage, and a body scrub. And so you should be very relaxed. And then that afternoon, we'll have lunch and some free time. This is a good day if you wanted to go shopping more at, say, the Grand Bazaar or, just walk around and explore on your own. You'll have some free time before we have dinner as a group. September 9th, we will fly to Cappadocia, to Nevşehir specifically, in the morning. And then that afternoon, before we go and check into our hotel, we will tour Avanos and Gorem, which are two of the towns in Cappadocia that are actually open air museums. So as you're walking through the incredible, like, sort of moonscapes, also a lot of people have historically, for thousands of years, carved homes and villages into these rocks. And so you'll learn all about the history and we'll visit those two towns. We'll then go to our hotel, which is one of the cave hotels, and have dinner. The 10th, for those who want to do the hot air balloon, we will have the option to do the hot air balloon. If you don't want to get in the hot air balloon and you just want to watch the hot air balloons rise, our hotel has a really good view of that. So you don't have to actually get in a hot air balloon ride if you don't want to. In the afternoon, we'll go to Pamukkale and do the underground city tour. Again, for thousands of years, people have been carving, both on the ground and below the surface, these towns and villages. So you'll see some really impressive ancient homes. And then the 11th, we will have another optional hot air balloon ride this morning. We like to have two mornings because sometimes the weather can dictate if the hot air balloon ride happens or not. So for those who register for it, the goal will be to do it on September 10th, but the backup day will be September 11th. We will, after that, go to the Love Valley and we will take either a horseback ride or a walking tour. It's your choice. If you don't want to ride the horses, no worries. Our guide will be with us, and so you can ride along on a horse or just walk along with the group. And we'll learn about this really interesting landscape and then have our farewell dinner. And the 12th, for those who are flying home, you will have your return flight to Istanbul, which is included, and then you will take your flights from Istanbul home. Or if you're continuing to the optional extension, the group would fly from Cappadocia directly to Izmir to start the Aegean coast extension. So, in terms of highlights, we are going to be seeing the Blue Mosque, which is here in this photo, as well as many of the other incredible landmarks around Istanbul. We'll have our Turkish Hammam spa day, as well as the mosaic lamp workshop. And just in general, there's a lot of incredible shopping and tiles and artisan work that we are going to have the chance to explore. And then in Cappadocia, you'll have a lot of archaeological tours. You'll be able to watch the hot air balloons rise in the mornings, as well as potentially go on a hot air balloon ride. And then finally, this is the Love Valley. So this is the landscapes that we'll be taking that horseback riding slash walking tour of. In terms of where we are staying, in Istanbul, we're going to be at the Sura Design Hotel, which is a really nice boutique hotel, very centrally located. It'll be very safe if you want to walk and get a coffee in the free time or after dinner, go out and explore a little bit on your own. There's lots of cafes, bars. It's very safe and centrally located. And then this is the Zephora Cave Suites, which is built into one of the rocky mountain areas with this really beautiful view of the sunrise and all of the hot air balloons every morning. So this is where the breakfast is served every day, and the rooms are sort of traditional cave rooms. So they're the traditional local limestone that is part of the nature. If you are interested in the Aegean coast, the optional extension will take you from the 12th to the 15th. And again, you'll fly Cappadocia to Izmir. We'll then go stay in Kusadasi, which is a coastal city. That afternoon, you have a beach day and just free time to explore on your own. The 13th is when we
I
go to
didn't. It came like that.
Ephesus, which is the really ancient Greek and Roman ruins in um, Turkey. And then we have the 14th, you'll drive from Kusadasi to Pamukkale, which is what you see here. It's these like cotton candy baths, is what they're called. And you'll be able to explore that area with a guide. We'll stay one night near Pamukkale, and then the group would fly back from the Pamukkale area to Istanbul for you to catch your home flights on the 15th. So again, the full trip, if you wanted to do both the main and the extension, would take you all the way to September 15th. So a few FAQs. The weather is going to be in the 60s and 70s, maybe even getting to the low 80s. It should be very dry and sunny. September is an excellent time to visit Turkey. This is a more moderate level of activity. There is quite a bit of walking on the walking tour days. And Turkey is a very ancient country, and so the terrain itself can be very uneven. There's stairs, there's some hills, there are not always paved paths. So it's good to just make sure that you are feeling like you can keep up with 4 to 5 miles of walking in a day, standing for a few hours at a time, and making sure that you have really good walking shoes for this tour. For visas, there is no visa for US and Canadian citizens to Turkey. You just get a stamp on arrival, so it's very simple. And the price for the main trip is $6,295 in single occupancy. That's the 4 and 5 star hotels, your own private room and bathroom at each of those, all of the breakfasts and dinners, plus 4 lunches. And all of the transports, guiding, all of the activities we talked about, and tips. The Aegean Coast Extension is 2,595 for the additional 3 nights. Also, your round trip internal airfare is included for this trip. So you're responsible for your international airfare landing and departing from Istanbul, but the internal airfare from Istanbul to Cappadocia and on the extension from Cappadocia to Izmir is included in these prices. The only things that are not included is any souvenir shopping you want to do, and your international airfare. So I will stop there and open it up to any questions. Feel free to come off mute and ask or put them in the chat.
Catherine, it's
Yeah,
Anne.
and
Hi. Um, got a couple of trips
Yeah.
going, but the walking part, do you need walking sticks,
So the
trekking poles?
if you want to bring them, you can. It's not really necessary. It's going to be pretty slow paced.
Okay,
And so really just good sneakers or walking shoes is the most important. The m most active walking day is the Love Valley day, where again, if you want to do less walking, you can just ride a horse. And the horses are all very trained. You don't even need to have ever been on a horse to ride a horse.
okay,
So that's the day where you'd actually have probably the most hiking involved.
okay,
But again, the horse is there to help make it a little bit more accessible for people. If you don't want to walk, you can just ride the horse. And if you want to walk for some of it and ride a horse for some of it, that also, is totally possible.
okay. And then the second question is, I think I emailed you before, still working on the flight from Chicago to
Yes.
Istanbul and trying to arrange that. So if I need an extra day before and an
Yep.
extra day after just to manage the airfare, I can work with you on that.
Yes. So
Okay.
we have a lot of women for this trip. Again, we have 7 confirmed that there's 10 maximum. And so I think about 5 of the 7, including yourself, have indicated they want that extra day on arrival. We just arranged that at the same hotel, so you'll have the same hotel room the whole time. And then if you wanted one at the end of the trip, we could either arrange it by the airport so that you can just easily, get to the airport the next day. You don't have to travel into the city because the Istanbul airport's about 40 minutes outside of like the
Okay.
main city. Or if you wanted to be back in Istanbul proper, we could take you to back to the same hotel. You would just have to know that you have to plan for that travel time to get you to the airport before your departure flight
Okay. And the ground transportation, regardless,
is included.
is included. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Um, Emily, I see a question about your passport. So no, as long as you have a passport, and it sounds like you do, you're in the process of renewing it, you don't need your passport to reserve the spot. That is something that you just want to make sure that you'll have your passport before you take the trip, but you don't need it to reserve it. Any other questions?
Hi, this is Becky. I'm new
Hi.
to this whole
Yeah.
I belong to the group, but now just getting started trying to travel with it. You said there's only 10 spots available and 7 are already confirmed. I'm trying to get a girlfriend to go with me. How soon do I have to tell you that I'd like to book 2 spots?
Yeah, so yes, for 2026, we're at about 65% capacity or filled for all of our 2026 trips. And the sooner the better is my best response. I don't have an exact ability to say, hey, the 3 spots are going to sell in the next 10 days or
Okay.
2 weeks or a month, but the sooner the better.
Okay.
We are happy to put you on a wait list in the meantime so that if I
Okay.
start to see like, oh, hey, there's now only 2 spots left, I'll send you an email and be like, hey, kind of need to make a decision more quickly so that you at least have that context.
Uh-huh.
But right now we do have that, yeah, the three spots available. And then if a trip ever sells out, but you were really interested in it, we can always put you on the wait list. And that way, if someone were to cancel or a spot were to open up, you'd be the first to know about that. And when we add, we'll be doing Turkey in 2027, pretty much
Okay.
the same itinerary again. So if it didn't work out for 2026, September 2027, we'll be running this trip again.
Yeah, and I want to go in September because of the weather. We're
Yeah.
talking about do not want to do the heat. So if
No.
it doesn't go with me, I still do plan to go on
Yeah.
my own. So if it fills up, I would like to be put on the wait list. I do have another question.
Yeah.
Do we need any kind of I don't want to say I don't know, protection? How
No.
bad is
So
Turkey right now?
So Turkey is the issues in Turkey mostly right now are related to the financial sort of going up and down, right? The lira is the currency there, and there's a lot of instability in the lira, makes it more affordable as an American to travel there. But it has been very challenging for the Turkish people. In terms of security on the ground, Turkey is very, very secure. And we're also going to like the most highly touristed areas that are not
Okay.
anywhere near the borders
Oh,
with,
got it.
so like Eastern Turkey is where we have borders with Syria and Iraq and things, and we don't
Right.
go to those areas.
Okay.
So the western part of Turkey, where Istanbul is and where Cappadocia is extremely safe and has not had any sort of security issues. The biggest thing with Turkey is just we recommend drinking bottled water. Tap water is safe to brush your teeth with and shower with, but better to drink bottled water. That's sort of the only health precaution for this trip.
Got it. And I have may have missed, I got a little bit
Yeah.
late. I had to run out of work to my car.
No.
Um, what's the payment? Is it all up front at once, which is not a problem, but how
It's You have two options. So, for all of our trips, there's a $400 deposit no matter what option you take. And then option one is continue to pay in $400 installments each month. So it's
uh-huh.
sort of like a way to break it up over many months. And then the balance payment is due 90 days before you travel. The alternative is pay the $400 deposit on registration and then pay in full the remaining balance, and you get about a 3% discount. So it's a little cheaper if you do pay upfront, but most people choose just to do the monthly installments. We send you an invoice each month for the $400 on the first of the month. And then at the 90-day travel mark, which in this case would be uh, June of 2026, right? 90 days
Uh-huh.
before September, you would get an invoice for us for the balance payment.
Okay, great. And then does the tour change? So if I don't go in 2026, do you do different things in 2027?
Not usually. Like the hotels may change just because we have to, like, we can't book the hotels more than 11 months in advance. So I can't guarantee that it will be exactly the same hotels. But in terms of the structure of the itinerary, and the places that you're going to see, no, that should be the same year
Okay.
after year.
Oh, great. Because I want to see the museum, all the historical
Yeah.
landmarks. I don't care about anything else. No balloon rides. I don't care. No horseback riding. That doesn't matter to me. Okay. And I think that's it. I think that's all the questions I had.
Awesome.
So if I decide to tell you, please put me on the wait list
Yeah.
with a guest, do I just email you or?
Yeah, after
Okay,
this call, you'll get tomorrow morning, you'll get an email from me with a link also to the recording. So if you wanted to share that with your friend so she could catch up on it, you can
great.
do that. And it'll have my email, and then if you're ready to book, there will be a link to register with the $400 deposit.
Okay.
Or you can just email me back and say, "Hey, I need a little bit of time, but can you keep me on that wait list so that I'll keep you notified about the trip?"
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
And that's for me. Thank you.
perfect. Other questions from folks?
So this is Dominique. My camera is
Hi.
terrible, so I'm
You're
gonna
fine.
block off the camera right now. It's a lighting issue.
All
Um,
good.
so I am signed up for the trip. I'm very excited
Yes.
about it. For booking flights, I haven't booked mine yet.
Mhm.
When do you advise booking flights?
I would say probably next month is a good time to start like really digging in and looking. And then if you find something that's a good rate, go ahead and book it. I don't recommend booking before 6 months in advance because the flights tend to get a little cheaper. There's like a sweet spot of 4 to 6 months in advance. International flights tend to go a little cheaper and then they get expensive when you're like 3 months out from the trip.
Okay.
So I would say start in March. Look, if you see something that seems reasonable, I can share also how to set up a Google flight alert, which is what I always do. That helps you track the flights. I track it for like 2 or 3 weeks. Google will send you an email if the flight drops and gets cheaper. And it'll tell you like this based on its historical data. This is an average price. This is a cheap price. This is an expensive price. So it does some of that searching work for you. And then, typically if I see a price start to go down a little bit, I'll just book in order to get that better price. So I can send you a link to that.
That would be awesome. Thank
Yeah,
you. And
absolutely.
then I did book the extension. Super
Yes.
excited about that. So I know we fly back into Istanbul the last day, and we
Yes.
just stay in the airport and fly out directly. Is that kind of
Exactly.
the
Yep.
concept?
So your flight should get you to Istanbul Airport. This is both for people leaving on the 12th and the 15th, extension or no extension. You'll get back to Istanbul Airport about noon. So our recommendation is to book departing flights after like 2 o'clock, just to give yourself enough time to, get off your domestic flight, go through security again, and then get on your international flight.
Perfect. Okay, that's cool. The meals that they have, so like
Yes.
dinners and stuff that we do together, does everybody order their own thing, or do you have a prefix or buffet or something?
It tends to be everyone ordering their own thing. Sometimes we have like a smaller menu where you'll have, three choices for appetizer, three choices for main, three choices for dessert, or something like that.
Okay.
Um, so then you still have a choice, but it's not like the full menu. But we try as hard as possible on our trips to have it be the full menu is available. You order what you want. Turkey is a place that's very much like family style meze dishes. So what we usually do is we'll order some appetizers for the table to share, keeping in mind people's allergies and dietary restrictions. And then most people will order their own main course, and then we'll do, baklava or some sort of dessert shared for the table as well.
Nice. And when we get closer to the trip, can you send out advice to like, do we need to have lira? Should we get how much
Yeah.
roughly to have carrying around for coffees and
We will recommend getting a little lira out, but we'll recommend to get it out when you get in Turkey because
yep.
literally from one day to the next, the price can change like 10, 15%. It's a very volatile currency. So our recommendation is don't worry about trying to get it out before you get to Turkey.
Okay.
When we get to Turkey on that first tour day, you're not going to need anything before that. We'll go to an ATM with our guide. We'll wait. Everyone can get a little bit of cash out, but get minimal, like less, probably like 50 US dollars worth of lira, because things are very cheap. Like a coffee is like maybe a dollar 50. And so the food, the snacks, things like that, you can have little bits of cash for. And then if you wanted to do like a massage at the hotel one day or buy, a larger piece of furniture or artwork, they take card most places, so you're not going to need a lot of cash for like big purchases.
Thank you. That's all
Yeah,
I have right now. I might think of
awesome.
something else
Yeah,
as
if
the
you think of
menu
more
class.
things, send me an email or ask away. Any other questions?
This is Emily.
This
I'm
is,
sorry, my camera
oh,
is
no
not
worries.
working. Hi, I haven't traveled with you all, so really appreciate I don't know, the opportunity to preview all this.
Yeah,
Wondered if I'm undecided about the extension and I'm already going, like I
yeah.
commit to the 7 days, do I have a little wiggle room to add that on? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. We can typically add the extension up to 90 days in advance. So when the final balance for the trip is due, we kind of need to know, okay, hey, who's going on the extension and not. But if you wanted to book the main trip and then take a little bit of time, think about flights, get time off approved, anything like that,
Hmm.
you could always do that and then, email me and say, hey, yes, I want to add the extension as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Emily, go on the extension with me. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, Ephesus is like high on my list, so
it's incredible.
Yeah, yeah.
Um I was more impressed by it than Greece. And I think just my expectations were like, oh, this isn't gonna be as cool as Greece. And then I went and I was like, this is actually way cooler than Greece. There's less people. It feels much more, I don't know, just it felt more historical and less crowded with tourists and everything. So I
That's
really
great to know.
enjoyed Ephesus. And if you are like a history and archaeology buff, it's definitely a good place to go.
Okay, thanks.
Awesome. Any other questions from folks? No. Um, well, I will send everybody the follow-up email. You'll get a link to this. The other thing that I just want to, I guess, two other things about WTA for those who haven't been on a call like this before. So for every trip, you have a pre-trip call at the 90-day and the 30-day mark. So once you're registered on a trip, you'll get the email invites to those. It's on Zoom like this. It's just with you and the women traveling with you, plus your trip hosts, who are the trained members of our staff that accompany every group. And it's a nice way to just see names and faces before you meet people in real life. We also talk about what to pack, whether, day by day itinerary in a lot of detail, etc. So you get these orientation calls. You also have a WhatsApp group that we use to communicate leading up to the trip as well as on the ground. So you have a lot of support from us along the way. And then for booking, the process is you go to the website, you'll get a link to the registration form. That registration form takes you through some biographical data, and then you pay the $400 deposit on the website. And then once that's paid, you'll have that choice of either continuing to make the monthly installments or paying the balance. So, yeah, happy to answer other questions by email if people think of anything later, but you'll get a follow-up from me shortly. And I wish everybody a great rest of the night and hope to see some of you who aren't already registered on the Turkey trip in September.
Thank you. Bye.
Perfect. All right. Bye,
Thanks,
everybody.
Catherine.
Catherine, can you stay on for a
Yeah,
moment?
absolutely, Anne.